Hey y'all, just another episode of He Walks With Me. And this one has some very sweet personal connections. If you look in the background, you'll see a tree down over the trail, and beyond that, you should be able to see some moss covered rocks. Well, when I first started hiking, one of the things that God used it in my life for was to give me confidence. Confidence that I could hear from Him, confidence that I could know myself, confidence that I could make decisions. One of the first hikes I ever went on was with a couple of friends, and we found a tree across the trail. Each one of them made their decision on how they were going to get around the tree. One of them went around it, one of them went under it. I had to look at that and decide my way of getting around the tree, and I decided to go over it. And so today, here I come up with another tree. And I had been warned along the way. Another hiker said, "Hey, there's a tree down across the trail. You can get around it, but it does fill up the whole trail." So I had been thinking about it and just thinking how that was connected to my first hike. I had gone on a ways and I hadn't seen the tree down across the trail. But when I got to it, it was bigger than I expected and took up more of the trail than I expected. So I stopped, I evaluated, I prayed, I looked at all my facts and my resources and decided that I saw an alternate path that I could take that would require going over the tree trunk and down a little bit of a hill, but that I would get to the other side of the trail. So, having as much facts as I could at the time, I went for it, and here I am. Now, the interesting thing about this tree is that it's down near the moss covered rocks, which I mentioned. And these moss covered rocks are very special personally to me because when my husband and I were just dating, I had a desire to climb some rocks that were covered with moss, and I just wasn't ready. And it kind of was a symbol for where I was in our relationship. I was ready for where we were, but not to go to that next level. And he was patient and understanding. And one day I was out here hiking and I saw these moss covered rocks that you can see by this tree. And I climbed them and I got to the top and I called him because we were distant at that time and video chatted with him and asked him if he could tell where I was. And he quickly figured out that I had climbed some rocks. And the next weekend, he came to visit and proposed, and the rest is history. But it was just God's way of telling me that I was ready. And, like the guy that warned me about the tree, um, there are always opportunities to know ahead of time when there are things to be concerned about. But there's always those opportunities to either turn back in fear or to listen to the Lord and hear what He has to say to you. And so, what I've learned through all of this, through hiking, through navigating a new relationship, through changes that have happened in my life really over the past 6 years since my brother died, it's just been a season of hard caregiving and loss and change. And I know I'm not going to be that same person again. But the person that I am now, God has just gotten me to the place of trusting Him more, trusting myself more, trusting others more, and certainly listening to concerns and warnings, and then getting to those and navigating them as He leads me, but not walking in fear. And I know I did a vlog a few months ago in the snow about not letting fear dominate me. And I guess today's a little similar, but it's also just a little different because part of He Walks With Me, the reason that I chose that name for this vlog is because this is where I have learned to hear Him like nowhere else in my life. And this is where I have learned to trust that I can hear Him like I never did before. And so I just want to encourage you, whatever you're facing today, if you have a trial that you know is happening, a tree that you're trying to get across the trail, if you will, or if you've been warned of one that's coming down the road, not to be afraid and turn back, but just to listen to the Lord and let Him guide you. And certainly there are pitfalls that we do need to turn back from. If I came across a pile of rattlesnakes in this trail, I would be running the other direction. But just not living our lives in fear and letting Him just guide us in all things. Y'all have a blessed day.